All right, we're good. What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture. Thank you for coming by. It's a special day. Second interview here on the channel, and it's a good one. I've got Jon Cursi from the Cheddur app, which many of you probably are not aware of. And that's why we're doing this interview, because the app is awesome. Jon, welcome to the channel, man.
Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I guess just for a quick backstory, the idea of you coming on here for an interview, I guess, intrigued me for two reasons. Number one, the app I've been using for months since I've downloaded it, since I actually was trying to recruit you. And even a lot of my viewers, I don't think they know I'm a technical recruiter, but I reached out to Jon. That's how I kind of realized what he was actually working on. I said, what is this Cheddur app? I went and downloaded it, and the interface, which I told you, Jon, is just, it's clean, it's easy, it's awesome, it's powerful. There's so much good content back there that I think is very valuable to the market. And the other second reason I wanted to really have you on was I do talk about the talent behind the crypto space. And I'm talking about the developers, engineers, the people that don't always get out there on the front lines and show their face. So I think it's really cool and valuable to have you on the channel so people can kind of see what that talent looks like, because you're back there making things happen with apps like this. So I guess if you could, man, just give us a little bit of an intro on your story, how you got into crypto, maybe what led you to creating the app, and we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, sure. So I've been involved in the space since, I guess we're going back to 2014. So at the time, I was actually working at a pharmaceutical company as a chemical engineer. So, I mean, totally unrelated, doing totally unrelated work. And I was just looking for something. Like at that time in my life, I just graduated college and I got my full-time job and realized this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Like I just wasn't fulfilled with my day job. I was looking, at that time I realized, I think I have more of an entrepreneurial spirit. I want to build something. I didn't know where to channel that energy. And a friend of mine just brought up Bitcoin in conversation. I had no idea what it was. And that night I went home, I researched on YouTube, Bitcoin, what is it? And the first video that came up was Andreas Antonopoulos on Joe Rogan. I'm sure a lot of your viewers have seen this. If they haven't, I highly recommend it. We should put links in this video. That is a killer interview. He's been on the show a few times. I've seen them all. Andreas can explain, the vision of something in just such graceful terms, and it really just grabbed me. And I saw the future of cryptocurrency and where this thing is going. And we're going back to 2014. A lot of the companies that are around today, the exchanges, the wallets, a lot of that didn't even exist. It was super all the interfaces were clunky. I mean, things are getting better. And I hope that, with Cheddur, we're trying to contribute to that and, just making things more usable. But back then, man, you had to have, some kind of vision, and you had to really see through the crud to really, buy into it. So, I mean, I was a chemical engineer. I knew this is what I wanted to do, with my life. I wanted to apply myself to this, but I didn't have the skills. So, I mean, at that point, that's when I realized I need to retool. I need to, teach myself new things. So basically nights and weekends, man, just learning how to, code. I started with, front-end development, just the basic HTML, CSS, how do you build a website? And then from there, getting more advanced into JavaScript, and then slowly more into back-end technologies. And eventually, when I got to a point where I knew enough, I quit my job as an engineer, and I pursued programming full-time to really hone my skill set. And then I really believe the best way to teach yourself, to be an expert at something is to build something. You can learn only so much from a book, from theory. You really just need to, learn through building something. You're not going to get that from a normal job, but if you just apply yourself, on just going, committing to something, nights and weekends, just going hard at it, building something, having people use it, you get that encouragement, then it spirals from there. So the first product I built was cryptuitive.com. And I launched this in 2015. So this was like technical analysis for cryptocurrency day traders. And this was before TradingView enabled crypto support. So we're going back a while here. And so, I mean, price has always been a big deal in this space. Everyone wants to know, what is the price? How's my portfolio?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, price. But especially back then, it's really all it was. All everyone cared about was price. So, and the charting tools weren't there. They just didn't exist. There was just a few select sites, and I was like, you know what, we could do better than this. We could put a better UI on this, make it more usable, approachable, But again, that was more targeted towards, your more advanced, your kind of trader, more tech savvy type audience. And then over the years, as this technology has matured and it's slowly starting to creep into mainstream bit by bit, I noticed that there's a huge information gap. There's a lot of people that philosophically agree with this space, but they don't know how to get started at all. So it's like, in order to really understand Bitcoin, you have to understand what money is and how money works and how is it different from cryptocurrency. And then once you kind of understand that, then it's like, okay, so I understand what Bitcoin is. Now, how do I actually get some? How do I use it? Then you have to understand what a wallet is and the difference, the paradigm shift between giving control to a bank to manage your money versus taking ownership yourself. And obviously, then there's different types of wallets. So, you have, depending on what level of control you want, it can be a web wallet, on your phone, or it could be a hardware wallet like a Trezor. So then you kind of have to understand the differences between them to really understand, how am I going to secure my money?
Yeah.
You have to understand how to trade, like, where do you go to acquire these currencies? If you want to buy Bitcoin, Litecoin or Ethereum, it's pretty simple to do with Coinbase. But if you wanted to buy an altcoin like EOS or Cardano or Tronix or something like that, well, then you have to be a little bit more advanced. You need to find out, where can I go to actually make that purchase? How do I go about doing that? Once I have it, then where do I store those coins? There's just so many questions that, your typical, average consumer doesn't know really where to go. And from there, you usually start with Google and go down rabbit holes, and it takes a lot of time and energy. And I was like, you know what, like, in order for this technology to really catch on, we have to do better than this. We got to make the user experience so much better. So that's where the idea for Cheddar came from. It's really like Yelp for cryptocurrencies. So it's just a, one-stop shop. Open up the app. If you don't know what you're looking for, you can browse. We have powerful filters and all kinds of stuff where you can narrow down search results, find the coins and services that interest you, and then from there, it paints the picture for you. The roadmap is right there. If you want to learn about it, all the information is consolidated. If you want to get started with it, we can show you wallets that support it. We can show you where you can trade it. Pretty much any question you have along your crypto journey, from beginner who's just getting started to a power user who's trying to find, maybe very specific investments and opportunities, the answers are there.
Agreed. And I like how you put that. And I don't know if you want to, I think there's a little bit of an echo. If you want to, could you turn the volume down maybe a little bit?
Sure.
Sorry about that. The rabbit hole. I mean, I remember when I first started doing some due diligence into the space, going on Google, especially, I mean, it's like, you almost feel like a 2-year-old learning a new language, with wallets and the blockchain and, nodes and what is all this, like, what's happening? How can I buy into this if I don't even understand the language? So I love how you put that. And that's partly why I liked your app, is because it takes everything and puts it into one spot, but it does it in a very clean way. It's not messy, and, it's how it should be. And I also agree how you said, if you want to learn the space, and I'm saying this because I always try and encourage just the viewers on this channel to kind of get involved. And you said the best way to learn is by building something. And it can be a little bit intimidating to do something like that, but I think we're in such an important time. It's important to do that. I have a, thanks to E over at the Light School, he kind of motivated me. I have a Raspberry Pi coming today. I'm going to try and set up and run a full node, and I have no idea what I'm doing or how to do that, but I'm going to do it. I want to be, I want to be a part of, like, the validation process. I want to be a part of what's going on in the network, and we can do that, and that's crazy to me. So, so I guess I definitely want to dive into the app so you can kind of tell us the features and everything, but just a couple of questions, because I know my audience on this channel probably interested in your thoughts, especially from a developer's point of view. I'm actually kind of curious, because I know you're back there building, but what kind of interest or intrigue do you have in the, the price action, the movement of the markets, the volatility side of things. And also, I'm curious of your thoughts on Litecoin, of course.
Yeah, sure. So I went through the previous major crash. So the first Bitcoin that I purchased was at $800. So this was like late 2014, heading into the previous bear market of 2015 to 16. So I went through that whole thing. And I feel like this is kind of history repeating itself. And if you even look at the charts, and it looks like fractals. If you take the previous crash and you overlay it on top of the current one, it's almost following it exactly. So yeah, I mean, when I first got involved, Bitcoin was at 800. It was on its way down, and it was just very odd to me because I was so convinced and so certain about the technology that this would change the world, yet the price was going down. It made no sense to me. But back in those days, I think there was additional motivation for that price decline. So Mt. Gox had gotten hacked. I mean, there was huge liquidity shocks to the market. I don't see much of that in this current crash. It just seems like normal kind of price action. I mean, we were way overbought in 2017. If you look at the charts in like November into December, price was doubling, tripling week over week. I mean, that's obviously not sustainable. So yeah, I mean, when I look at the price action, it doesn't bother me. Because I have a long-term position in the market. I'm not, I mean, I don't give investment or trading advice, but my personal philosophy is, I mean, A, you hear this everywhere, never invest more than you can afford to lose. And then, B, I try to make my investments at least 2 to 3 years, have a 2 to 3 year horizon so that, in December, I don't think anyone thought we would be at, $6,500, a couple months later. These things are really hard to predict. It's easy in hindsight looking backwards, you can kind of see like, you know what, I should have known. But, when you're in the moment, it's really hard to tell. So yeah, I mean, I just kind of try to keep it long term. So when I look at, the recent crash, I'm not worried because when I look at the technology, speaking to the developer side of things, and I look at the Lightning Network, in terms of Litecoin and Bitcoin developments being made there. I think they just put their first client on the mainnet, and there's a couple clients still on testnet that are making their way onto the mainnet. When I look at Ethereum, and there are scaling issues there, but there's solutions in the works, and Ethereum should be moving on to proof of stake either later this year or early in 2019. I just see lots of progress being made. The technology is only getting better. So when I look at the price decline, honestly, I see opportunity. This is like the second chance that I had. Back in 2014, when the price was declining, that gave me great opportunities to accumulate at a low price, to really focus on understanding the technology, learning, educating myself. This is the perfect time to do it, before the next wave comes. And if you talk to any, OG in the space, someone who's been through a couple wars in terms of price decline, I think, the consensus is it will sort itself out. The next wave is going to come. No one knows how long it's going to be. It could be 6 months, could be a year, year and a half. I don't know. The last one took a year and a half, just about. I got a feeling this one's going to be significantly sooner. Because there aren't any major liquidity shocks in the market. It seems to be normal, just kind of overbought. Now it's becoming oversold. So yeah, I would just say, hold on, hodl. That's it.
Hodl. And that's my approach too. And I know sometimes I have viewers come in and they hate my long-term approach, but I just feel like it's probably the most conservative approach, first of all. So many people lose their money trying to trade this. And I don't think it utilizes a lot of wisdom doing that because there is so much manipulations. There's so much volatility. So it's easy to get caught in that. So I think we're on the same page right there.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So now in terms of, obviously you got in 2014, and I mean, there's so many coins on your app, and in that process of adding those coins, and do you have an insane portfolio? I mean, I'm kind of curious how mixed it is.
You would be surprised. I have 3 coins. That's all.
Wow.
I'm very, very picky and choosy with the coins that I invest in. I only invest in coins that I understand completely. You know, like for me, I'm not like a risky investor. I take more the Warren Buffett model, you know, just really only invest in things that you truly understand and have a good grasp of. And for me, it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and most recently, and this is probably the more risky of those, EOS. So EOS is my bet on the third generation coins. You know, so you think generation 1 is more like the payment settlement network. Generation 2 is blockchain application platforms, decentralized apps, and generation 3 is how do we make this stuff scale? And you know, I've started to do some research on, you know, so there's many competitors that are coming out that are supposedly the Ethereum killers. I honestly don't think anything's going to kill Ethereum. You know, I think Ethereum is here to stay. I think that it's going to be a matter of coexistence and, you know, market share and what can take some market share away from Ethereum. And for me, EOS is the one that jumped out. So I actually have, you know, a very small portfolio. I prefer to stack heavy amounts of capital on fewer amount of coins and manage them very closely, as opposed to, you know, kind of going wild and, you know, buying 100 ICOs and hoping that 3 of them pay off or something like that. I just don't have the time to watch all that stuff.
Yeah, same here. I don't either. Although if you're going to watch it, you'd want to use your app, Cheddur.
Thank you.
So we have some work to do, you know, over on this channel to kind of get you to be a part of the Litecoin fam, because obviously Litecoin's just not good enough for you, apparently.
Well, no, I mean, I like Litecoin. I think, you know, the reason why, and I'm a believer in Litecoin. I think that Litecoin has a lot of value, provides a lot of value to the world. The thing for me in terms of an investment point of view is it's extremely similar to Bitcoin. When I think about investing in cryptocurrency, all of my investments are pretty different from one another. So I placed my bet in terms of the payment network. So you have Bitcoin, Litecoin, you have, you know, the private coins like Monero, Dash. Those are all they really do is payments. And out of that group, I picked the one I believe in most and that I understand most, and that's Bitcoin. So that doesn't have negative connotations on Litecoin. It's just that I prefer Bitcoin over Litecoin due to just lots of similarities between the two. I've purchased Litecoin in the past, and boy, have I wanted to hold on to it. But every time I do, it's like, you know, I just rather have Bitcoin, so I always convert it. So yeah, no, I really like Litecoin, especially, and you'll see this analogy brought up a lot from, you know, other YouTubers, kind of like the test net for Bitcoin, if you will. So Litecoin can be a lot more aggressive with its roadmap and adopt technologies a lot sooner. So just like how SegWit got rolled out on Litecoin before Bitcoin, and similar Lightning Network, you know, a lot of the innovations that are happening in the payment space and the settlement network arena are going live on Litecoin first. And I think that's awesome. And that is immense value to the whole ecosystem. And as a Bitcoin holder, I also like that as well, because the worst case scenario would be a bug gets, you know, put into production on Bitcoin, haven't, you know, been tested in a live environment. Until then, you know, that there's just more risk there. And I think that, you know, I'm okay with Bitcoin's roadmap being a little bit slower and more conservative, because it's becoming the backbone of the entire industry. And if we mess that up, you know, there could be, you know, some pretty crazy stuff happening.
Yeah, Bitcoin is king, always will be. Agreed. What's funny is I always have that same problem you have with holding on to Litecoin and just kind of going full on Bitcoin. I do that with Bitcoin a lot. I'll add to Bitcoin position. I'll be like, I'm going to move some over to Litecoin because I think everybody's got their preference. But I mean, I completely understand what you're saying. So it makes complete sense. I think I'm curious because you actually, before we got on the call, mentioned some features I wasn't even really too aware of on the app. So I say we jump in, kind of show people what the Yelp of crypto looks like. And then, yeah, any highlights you think would be important to go over, I say we jump in and check it out.
Cool. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Cool. So for those who haven't downloaded the app yet, this is what it looks like, you know, for someone who's coming back to it. You know, so I already have an account set up. I'm watching a few coins here at the top. So you can see I have Litecoin on my list. Hell yeah. You can see like the rings around them is just telling you, is it up, is it down, kind of where are things going? So you can develop your own watch list, and it has the usual stuff. If you look at rankings, this is basically coinmarketcap.com showing you from top to bottom, what are the market cap rankings, who has the most, capital, who's sitting on the most capital. You can look at your daily gainers, decliners. If you're the type of person who has a more robust portfolio and you're looking for ICOs, we have lists of ICOs that are active who are currently seeking investment. We have upcoming ICOs if you want to do some research and plan out ICOs that are about to open up for investment, either on the the pre-ICO or the actual ICO itself. And then obviously we have services. So we believe that having coins is great, but if then you don't allow users to get started with them, with wallets and exchanges, then it's limited. So really we're trying to be a one-stop shop and try to, paint the full picture. So if I back up one step, for those in your audience who are maybe new to cryptocurrency and are just getting started, when you first download the app, the first thing that you'll see is really learn the basics. And this takes you from basically 0 to usable in about 90 seconds. So this is basically a picture book walkthrough explaining, what digital currency is, what makes it different from normal fiat currency that you use on a day-to-day basis. What do these terms mean? You hear about decentralized and peer-to-peer, and you hear coins, but isn't that confusing? Because coins is a physical object, but they're digital. So we try to explain all of the common pitfalls. And a lot of people think that you have to buy a full coin. So when someone says Bitcoin is $6,500, they're like, oh, I don't have $6,500 to spare. That's another, just kind of misconception. You can buy fractions of a coin. And in the case of Bitcoin, you can buy 1/100 millionth, a tiny amount. So in here, we explain how do you get it? What is an ICO? What does that mean? What is a wallet? Addresses? What does that mean? How do you send and receive money with friends, family? And then getting into kind of Bitcoin, the altcoin boom, and then that's it. So that will take you, through the basics. And once you're done with that, then the next question is, all right, so you want to get involved in this space. And there's no better way to get involved in this space and to buy a little bit of something and to play with it, getting back to, learning about this stuff. There's no better way to learn about Bitcoin than, do some research on it, educate yourself, and then buy a small amount and play with it, send it to a friend, receive some, understand how wallets work. So in our search tab, this is super comprehensive. So all of the coins in here are ranked. And rather than ranking strictly by market cap, we actually rank by popularity. So market cap isn't really a good indicator of is a coin, a good investment, or is it safe or not? Because I could create a coin right now that has 1 trillion supply, and then Dan, I'll sell you one for $1. Mm-hmm. And just because I did that doesn't mean that I have $1 trillion, dollar market cap coin. There's a lot of misconceptions with that. So instead, we have our own algorithms that rank things based on user engagement. So we believe that a coin is only as valuable as its community. I want to reiterate that. It really comes down to the community. So when we talk about popularity and ranking coins, we do it based on how many people are watching a coin's price, how many people have added public addresses, what is community consensus around that coin in terms of ratings and reviews. There's lots of social factors that we take into consideration, and that's where this list comes from. So if you don't know what you're looking for and you just kind of want to get involved in the space, it's obviously, just start with the top 3. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. These are what the community is telling you are the most popular, the most, I guess you want to say, quote unquote, stable, or kind of like the blue chip coins in the space. And maybe if you're a power user and you want to take a step further from here, we have a super robust filter and search mechanism where you can narrow down to literally anything, exactly what you're looking for. So let's give an example here. So let's filter the price. Let's say we want to find a coin. It's maybe in the $100 to $500 range. Categories. Every coin is categorized based on what it does best. So let's search for payment systems. So payment systems, like I mentioned earlier, that's like your Bitcoins, your Dashes, Moneros, Litecoins, coins that just
do payment and settlement really, really well. So let's search for that. Circulating supply. I happen to like coins that have a lower supply. You know, a lot of ICOs on the market these days have a billion plus, you know, 250 billion, like crazy high numbers. And the thing about that is like the price of each coin can't be that high if your overall supply is super diluted. So in case of circulating supply, let's look for coins that have, you know, less than 250 million in total supply or circulating supply. Age range. So, you know, rather than, let's try to find a coin, you know, that's been in production for, you know, let's say, I don't know, between 1 and, you know, 8 years or so, you know, something that's been battle tested in production and, you know, currently exists and currently has, you know, we're also searching for the $100 to $500 price range. So it's been in the market, it's proven itself, it has a high value, low supply. This seems like criteria for something that I might want to check out. I mean, we have lots of filters, you know, country availability. Here's another interesting one. So a lot of countries are regulating cryptocurrency on a case-by-case basis. So I happen to live in the United States, so I'm just going to put a filter on for USA to make sure that the coins that I'm looking for, I'm actually allowed to invest in. So the United States, you know, is pretty open about this, but there's certain countries like Bangladesh and Bolivia and other countries around the world that actually, you know, there's a little bit of tension there. So this filter might have some applicability to you. And we do have a lot of, you know, technical filters, but I won't get into those here. So if I run this search based on that criteria, it's going to look through our entire catalog. And we have thousands of coins and services, and that's growing and growing by the day. And you can see number 1 in this list is Litecoin.
That's what I'm talking about right there. See? I don't even need to sell you. I mean, your app sells Litecoin for it.
There you go. I mean, so again, it takes that criteria, it finds coins that match it, and then the sort order that I've applied to it is popularity. I could also apply different sort orders. I can sort by, you know, price, market cap, all kinds of stuff. But I mean, this demonstrates that. So Litecoin's number 1. So I happen to know a little bit about Litecoin, but in this example, I'm just going to hop into it and take it from the top to bottom, you know, as if I were coming here for the first time. So this is what the Litecoin profile looks like. All coin profiles are pretty similar. And just, you know, brief overview. If I didn't know what Litecoin was, here's, you know, an animated, you know, 30 to 60-second video that'll explain it all in kind of, you know, layman's terms. That's an awesome start. You know, we link out to litecoin.org where you can learn more, you know, directly from the developers themselves. If you tap on more info, this is where we capture dozens and dozens of metrics about Litecoin and all the other cryptocurrencies. You can see, you know, who's the creator of it, what countries can you use it in, you know, how old or, you know, how long has it been in production, what is the current market cap, you know, circulating supply, all the technical details. And by the way, if you don't know what any of this stuff means, that's okay too. You know, a lot of our users are new to the space. They don't understand, you know, what is a consensus mechanism? You know, I've heard of proof of work, proof of stake, but I don't quite know what that means. Just tap on that info icon and we have definitions. We try to explain everything and make it super approachable to everybody.
Love that. See, that's like exactly perfect example of why I like the app so much. It does such a good job of kind of teaching while you're also just kind of browsing.
Yeah. And, you know, what would this app be without price? You know, everyone still cares about price, and, you know, you can watch coins, add them to your watch list. So I'm already watching Litecoin. I'll rewatch it, add it to my list there. You can look at the price action, you know, over a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis. Now here's something pretty cool. So you can see what other people in the community think about it. And Litecoin is very highly regarded on the Cheddur app. And you can hop into a review. I read this review, you know, before the call, and this is a really helpful review. You can like reviews. You can tip people who write helpful reviews. So for example, here's Todd's review. Todd's a friend of mine. Todd's added his cryptocurrency addresses to the app, so I can tip him, and this is a super helpful review. So if I tap on tip, it's going to show me the addresses that he's added, and you can see this is what his portfolio looks like. So Todd has a lot of stuff going on here. This is very different.
Wait, does Todd have Litecoin?
Let's see. Yes, he does.
Nice.
He has Litecoin, and you can tap on it. Here's his QR code. You can scan that in. I'm on a simulator here, so you don't see the send button that would normally appear. But if you tap the send button, that would be there. It'll put you right into Coinbase or whatever wallet app you have on your phone, and you can send him a micropayment. Thank him for his helpful review.
Cool.
Yeah, and it's again learning about Litecoin, it's also useful to learn about what are similar coins in that arena that match up, based on category and other characteristics. So we also provide that in this panel here, where you can learn, about similar coins, Bitcoin being one of them. Now, so I'm familiar with Bitcoin, but maybe I'm less familiar with Litecoin, and I kind of want to understand the difference between the two. So maybe I would use the compare feature. So near the top of every coin profile, there's compare. So let's do a comparison side by side between Bitcoin and Litecoin, and maybe we can hammer out exactly what the differences are, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions in the market on what that is. So I mean, what's readily apparent is the price. So let's try to figure out, why is the price so different? And if you just browse through, you'll notice like a lot of this stuff is similar. So here's the difference. So age, Bitcoin's been around in production for 9 years, Litecoin 6 years. So Bitcoin has 3 years, of a competitive advantage over it. The supply, so the circulating supply of Litecoin is quite a bit higher. So that starts to paint the picture, on why there might be price differences. You can see stats. So this gives you a picture of kind of like consensus between, how many services support, Bitcoin versus how many services support Litecoin. You can see those numbers. You can see how many projects, so how many other coins have forked Bitcoin's code versus how many have forked, Litecoin's code. So then you can start to put these branches together and see kind of, in terms of developers, services, user consensus, try to get a feel for, which one might have more value or what those differences are.
Now, how do you compile all of this data?
So we add a lot of coins ourselves. And, in the early days when, the app was young, a lot of this came from our research. So we go and scour the internet. Like if you want to find this information yourself, it is not easy. You have to go through rabbit holes, and it makes sense though, because Bitcoin, for example, and all these digital currencies, they're decentralized. There's really no central repository that has a goldmine of information. There's bitcoin.org, which is, has great information, and there's some stuff on Wikipedia, and you kind of like start to put it all together and you can compile it, but it takes a lot of time, energy, and work. So that's what we do behind the scenes is we gather all that information and try to put it into an understandable, clean UI so that you can make great investment decisions. And we also allow community submissions. So if I hop back here, if you tap on the edit button here on Bitcoin's profile, all the information is editable. So if we got something wrong and you're browsing through and you're like, oh, no, that's totally not right, you can submit edits and it comes right to us and we approve them quickly. We do due diligence and we'll do research on it, make sure it's accurate. But yeah, I mean, as an end user, you can submit new profiles, you submit edits to profiles to keep information fresh, accurate, up to date, so that together as a community, we're looking at the most accurate information possible.
Interesting. How about I think probably one of my favorite features when I first got into the app, I just thought it was really cool, was you have like this section at the bottom, I think it's on the bottom of the home screen, where it kind of refers you out to if you want to see the best wallets. And are those things, I forget, are they reviewed as well?
Yeah. So I can show you that's also accessible from any coin's profile. So going back to our original coin that we stumbled upon, which was Litecoin from our search criteria, let's just say, we just walked through the Litecoin profile, we watched the video, learned more about it, from all the information, compared it to Bitcoin, and decided, what, I really like this, and I want to get involved in this community, so I want to buy some. So we have this really big Get Started button here at the top, and this will walk you through the process step by step. So here we are, Litecoin's profile. I'll tap Get Started. So it's going to ask you, how do you want to get started? So where do you want to start? Do you want to buy and sell? Do you have some already and you want to store it? Do you want to send it to someone, receive it? So in this example, we don't have any, so we want to buy and sell. So if we tap on the buy and sell section, Now it's going to say, well, do you want to do it on an online exchange, or do you want to meet, someone in person through, maybe a service like Local Bitcoins or something? I think most people would say online exchange. So if you tap on that, again, it's going to do a search through our entire database of services, and it's going to find online exchanges that support Litecoin, that are available to use in your jurisdiction. So for me, it's the United States of America, and it will show you a list of options. Again, they're all reviewable, they're sortable, by various ways, and the default is always popularity. And you can see Coinbase ranks #1 on that list.
Okay, cool. Are you going to be adding, I'm not sure, I didn't really go in depth in the last few days, but are you going to be adding Abra onto this at all?
Yeah, I'm not sure. We may have it. I guess we don't. And yeah, I will write that down unless, one of your users or you want to submit an edit before I get to it. That'd be awesome too.
Cool. That's a good idea. Sweet. So I think one of the things I would love to see happen is I want as many people on this video and whoever sees this to go download the app and write a review for Litecoin. I think that would be awesome. So are there any other features that you could think to go over or that you want to highlight,
Yeah, there's a few other ones that I can quickly go through that I think would strike a chord with some of your users. So in the next one, let's try to find a wallet, that's Litecoin compatible. Again, it's going to ask you what type of wallet you'd want to use. Let's just say web and mobile wallets. And the use case here would be, I want something on my phone that I can use to pay, at a merchant somewhere if I wanted to buy a cup of coffee. So similarly, it's going to do, a search through the entire service catalog. Now, here's a really cool thing. You can also filter services. And one of the really awesome things is we're looking for wallets that support Litecoin, but maybe in my portfolio, I also have Bitcoin and Ethereum. You can put your entire portfolio in here and find a wallet that works for all of your coins. So this just ran a search, and Coinbase again comes up as supporting Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. So whatever your portfolio is, you can try to find a wallet that has multi-coin support for your needs, so that you don't have a bazillion wallets and you have to manage all of those passwords and pins and keys and all of that. You can try to find the right wallet that meets your investment criteria.
That is awesome. I actually didn't know I had that, and that would have actually been very useful because that's so frustrating sometimes trying to keep track of different wallets. And there's probably an actual wallet that would carry, because I don't have a huge portfolio either.
Yeah. One of the next features is you can add your addresses to the app. And like I mentioned earlier, this factors into popularity. So one of the reasons why Litecoin is revered in the app is because so many people have proven ownership of Litecoin. So they've added, a public address, from, one of their wallets. So you can see, a list of Litecoin users who have added, a public address that rep Litecoin publicly. And that gives you a sense, because people can give anything a 5-star review. But if you add an address, that's a whole different story. That's saying, that you've actually gone to an exchange, you put your money where your mouth is, you know what I mean? So that carries a lot of weight on the app.
Question. So yep. I saw you in the options, like I guess in the get started, you could press receive Litecoin. How does that work? I mean, do you have the app? Is it hooked up to, do you input your address, I guess, to whatever wallet you want? So, but what does that feature kind of look like if you press receive? What happens?
Yeah, so we are not a wallet ourselves. All we do is we allow users to post their addresses. So we're wallet agnostic. So our mission is to help you choose the right wallet and the right services for you. And once you've done that, those services generate your addresses. And then if you'd like, you can take those addresses and publish them on Cheddur so that anyone can send you money. And one of the obvious incentives for that is if you're writing helpful reviews, so you can also follow users in the app. And you can see I have 341 followers. So every time I write a review, they get notified. And people thumb up my reviews, send me tips in the coins that I've added. So what you're talking about here is my coin addresses. So if you were to have tapped receive in the Litecoin getting started section, it would give me a screen where I can add a Litecoin address. And I've already done so. So you can see the donations that I'm accepting. So obviously Bitcoin, EOS, and Ethereum, the 3 that I mentioned that I hold at the beginning of the call. And then Litecoin is one that I also take donations from. And you can tap into any of these. It'll go to a QR code, normal stuff. You can just scan that in with your phone. On physical devices, there's going to be a send button on the bottom, and that's hardwired into whatever wallet you have on your device. So it'll deep link you in there where you can just send super easy to friends and family and people that you follow. So yeah, that's what Receive is. It's just a mechanism for you to add your addresses, to rep coins publicly, and to receive tips, payments, donations in digital currency, from anyone.
Okay, cool. That social element is pretty interesting. So is that something you think you'd expand on in the future, or?
Yeah, for sure. So probably one of the other major things I wanted to review is that these profiles aren't static. They are totally dynamic, not only in terms of users being able to engage with them, in terms of, you can watch coins, you can review them, you can add addresses, and we calculate all of that stuff to come up with popularity and other metrics. But at the same time, if you're a developer and if you're a Litecoin core developer, or you're a member of the Litecoin Foundation, you see this call out here that says, if you're a member of the core team, tap here to manage this profile. So we don't want to, be a central point of control over all this information. Not at all. We want to put the appropriate permissions in the hands of the people that know best. And in our opinion, that would be Litecoin core developers or members of the foundation. So if you are one of those people, you can follow this prompt to get yourself verified to manage this profile. And that gives you special permissions where you can edit the information in real time. It doesn't come to us, it's just published immediately. You can actually respond to reviews. So imagine that, where you can write a review on a coin and then get a response from a developer, and it'll have their title and everything. You can understand who they are, and you can actually have a conversation with them. That's the type of interaction that we're doubling down on, is we believe that developers in this space who are building these protocols are massively underserved, as are consumers who are trying to engage with them and understand their projects. We're trying to provide a platform for these two parties to come together and connect in terms of, engaging about reviews. Think about Q&A, FAQs. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. We have lots of stuff planned for that. So for sure, we're definitely going to be doubling down on social.
I love that. I think that might be, that's probably one of the most powerful parts of the platform is, and I'm really interested to see how that progresses, but you're right. Just that community aspect of things, which you touched on, is probably the most important thing. And I think people in this market, in this space right now, are starving for that interaction with the teams that are behind the projects. And I think before we got on this call, you were asking me about Litecoin a little bit, and I was just telling you, I love the community. I love the team, the Litecoin Foundation. And I think as I see that community grow, there's just such a sense of value behind that happening. So to talk about that happening in all of these coins and this interaction on a platform like this, I think it's a game changer. Obviously it takes time, but I think it's huge.
Yeah, thanks. And that's the thing, we believe that we're approaching a world where there's going to be millions of digital currencies. And man, if you look at Ethereum, for example, and if you go to Etherscan, which is a block explorer for Ethereum, and you look at the ERC20 tokens that are listed on Etherscan, there's already 60,000 user-generated currencies on Ethereum. And that's only one of the app platforms. There's Cardano and EOS and Neo and Icon. There's so many others. There's digital asset platforms like Waves, and we're approaching an explosion of coins. And for the end user, it's just not possible to try to do all this due diligence on your own. You really need a platform to help you sift through the information to find things that are meaningful to you. So everything in the app is categorized in a super high degree of detail. So if you're just browsing, we give you the big picture. But if you're a power user and you're really looking for something specific, we provide those nitty-gritty details as well. And to put that bow tie on the whole thing, we don't want it to just be information. We want it to be a conversation. At the end of the day, it really comes down to a coin's success is based on the engagement of the community. Bitcoin wouldn't be what it is today if people didn't believe in it and, you know, we're crazy enough to hold it. And, you know, you see the price action that we have in the market today. You know, if there weren't people willing to hold it, the thing would go to zero. You know, you have to have that belief and that excitement and that passion. And we're trying to bring that to the forefront through this app.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many different parts of that community. I think adoption is even a big part of it, because the more that there's community, the more that just the people that are on the outside see this happening, the more they want to get involved. The more, you know, just something like Litecoin, the more merchants want to be able to accept Litecoin, the more they see the community grow. And I've seen it happen just on Twitter alone. Just merchants just being like, hey, how can I get set up, you know, to accept Litecoin? I think it's the community that is really representing the space. So I
Absolutely
completely agree. Cool, man. I think we did a good job of going over that app. Hopefully people understand why it's probably one of my favorite crypto apps on my phone. So
Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time too to come on here. Definitely, hopefully won't be the last, especially as you add some features.
For sure.
Plus you're close. So, you know, we can always collaborate and brainstorm as you grow your app, I grow the channel. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, man, that'd be awesome. I think I'm like, you know, 30 minutes away or something like that. So we could definitely make it happen.
Yeah, real close, which is kind of, I mean, I feel like everybody I'm ever talking to in this space is always in San Francisco for some reason. So it's nice to have somebody on the Northeast.
Yeah, it's pretty rare.
It really is. So cool, man. Well, I appreciate it. So I guess obviously we'll put some links in the description, but download the app, I guess, probably the best way to get started, right? Just kind of jump in.
Yeah, so we're available on iOS and Android. So if you just search for Cheddur, Cheddur, Cheddur with a U, or you can go to cheddur.com. All the information is there. You can download it. It's 100% free. You can follow us on Twitter @CheddurApp. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We have exciting stuff in the works for 2018 and 2019 for this app. So lots of features, you know, users have been asking for in terms of, you know, just the obvious ones, portfolio, you know, being able to, you know, get notifications when information changes for a coin or service. You know, imagine following Binance, and Binance delists, like last night, they delisted Centra. And I only knew about that because I was scrolling through Twitter, and, you know, I just happened to see it. Right now, I think people are trying to use Twitter for use cases that is just not as usable as it could be. We want to send push notifications out to people and let them know, you know, when information changes for coins that you know that they want to know, you know. Mm-hmm. So think about if Coinbase lists a new coin, that's a big deal. That's going to pump quite a bit. Oh, so yeah. Being able to send push notifications for events like that, you know, ultimately where this is headed is we want to, you know, tokenize it and decentralize it. So like I mentioned, you know, I think midway through the call, we think it doesn't make sense to be a centralized information database of decentralized things. That's just counterintuitive. And, you know, we have no intention of owning the data and trying to sell it and, you know, anything like that, like normal centralized companies do, like your Facebooks and Yelps. We want to try to remove ourselves from the middle. So we'll have more information about that coming out in the coming months about our, you know, token sale. And I can't say much more about that, but basically the app will be fueled by a token, and you'll be paid for positive contribution through helpful reviews and high quality submissions and whatnot.
I love that. That's exciting right there. Maybe that's when we have to have you back on the channel, when we can kind of talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
That'll be cool, man. All right, Jon, I appreciate it, man. I really do. Going to get as many of our viewers to kind of go download it app, especially Litecoin fam. You got to go download and go review Litecoin, please. Let's get it #1 on that app. But thanks, Jon. I appreciate it. And I'll touch base with you a little bit later on.
Cool, man. I'll see you.
See you, man. Everyone, thank you so much for coming by. Second interview here on the channel. It was a fun one. Definitely, please, you know, I didn't interview Jon just for the fun of it. I really do think the app is awesome. It's powerful. It's offers a lot of value, I think, to the space. I like it. And Jon's a cool guy. So please go download the app. Let's support him as he kind of grows it. Some really cool things obviously in the work, but also Have another really cool interview coming up next week. I will be announcing tomorrow on probably Twitter as well as YouTube. But thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate all of you. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Would love to have you part of the channel, part of the fun, part of the growth in the cryptocurrency space. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video, and God bless.